A Galene woman knows why aesthetic exercise isn't always great. Hi, I'm Cole, your host for A Galene Woman Is, your home of self-care, the place where we actually encourage you to put your feet up, use your favourite face mask, and actually give yourself a second to breathe. This week, I really wanted to talk about something not controversial per se, but a topic I'm keenly aware of as someone who's grown up with the internet, but also someone who has had many failed attempts at various different forms of workout, routines, and fitness stuff. So today, I wanted to talk to you about integrating movement with your self-care. However, before we get into this, as always, while you're listening in, take this time to do something for you. Put on some snuggly socks and PJs, maybe stretch your back out a bit if you've been sat at a desk. Get up and maybe just head outside for a second. Sit and chill if that's really all you can manage, but just do something entirely for you for a moment so you can say you took time for yourself today. Okay, let me get this straight and established now. I love and follow many accounts of men and women who practice yoga, Pilates, those kind of cute running accounts. I don't know if that's just a UK thing, but there seems to be hundreds of those at the moment, and I really do think they can be incredibly inspirational and motivating to get you in a good headspace for exercise. But what happens when you're not feeling great about movement? What happens when you're consistently watching a yoga teacher bend in ways I'm pretty convinced are impossible? Or what do you do if you have suffered with or do suffer with body image issues in the past? Knowing how to navigate the fitness space is so incredibly important and definitely not talked about enough. We all know we can't compare ourselves to those online, that there is always a sprinkle of disguise and a barrier between you and that person who has that perfect body. But how do you get to that point where you don't constantly compare? How do you figure out the best way for you to engage and feel motivated to exercise without tapping in heavily into your insecurities and unhealthy relationships with fitness? That is absolutely a question for the ages, but I do believe that movement, from walking to strength training, is a part of your holistic self-care. Its whole meaning is caring for yourself, so that includes moving your body in whatever way you wish. And most importantly, your enjoyment in that experience and how key that is. There has not been a point in my life where I haven't had the internet on my doorstep. Yep, I'm a 2000s baby. So as a part of Gen Z, I know that we saw so much of our lives and inspiration from the social media space. This means that in terms of my understanding of body insecurity from the online world, or following some pretty toxic accounts promoting a very interesting relationship with fitness, I've been there. I've seen a hell of a lot of it, and I've seen its impact not just on myself, but also my close friends. The reason all of this is so important when we start talking about self-care is because it's grounded in how we view ourselves and what we deserve. When we have a funky relationship with fitness, food, our bodies, it naturally impacts the care and attention we believe we deserve and should give ourselves. Starting with how we feel about ourselves may seem like a very big question, but we owe it to self-love and growth to take true rest and figure out those questions. So deciding what movement means to us is a very, very necessary step. Your relationship with your body and exercise is so much more than how many weights you can lift, what yoga poses you can hold, and how many times a week you go to the gym. I don't need to tell you this, but sometimes it is worth the reminder. It's easy to get lost in the minute details, and we forget things like that wonderful quote by Emma Thompson that I genuinely do think about like all the time. Our body, it's our house. It's where you live. So if we don't show ourselves that care through exercise, we aren't quite showing up for ourselves in the best way. As a part of your self-care, your kindness to yourself, your dedicated periods of rest, you have to want to take time to sit on your butt for a bit. But it's also that balance. You also have to want to get out, say for just 10 minutes, to walk when you've been working all day. These two need each other. It will help you feel your best self by figuring out what that balance looks like for you. You have to want to look after yourself, but looking after yourself and your body, what fitness looks like to you does not have to be going to the gym for an hour doing training that you hate every single day. That's not healthy movement. That's unnecessary, grueling work. That's why this episode exists, to look at some of the ways we can slowly integrate exercise that we love and find movement that leaves you feeling truly fulfilled. I don't think any of it is stuff you haven't heard before, but putting the perspective in of self-care, self-love will hopefully give you the space and calm to see it in a light that benefits you most. I obviously acknowledge that any structured exercise does take discipline, especially if you want to do a little bit more than just a walk. I will at no point say this is an easy task and that it will seamlessly fit into your life. But if moving your body with love and care is your intention, the desire to do whatever fitness you choose becomes a very different kind of task. It becomes a caring, intentional experience instead of a chore. Take a step back and assess your motivations for doing any sort of exercise. What's going to genuinely make you feel good right now? Do you need to make a change? Do you want more structure or adjustments to the movement you already do? My job is not to be your motivational, discipline, hardcore, you've got to go do this and work your ass off for that dream kind of person. That's not this space, because you do need balance. You need the space to switch off for a second, and that's why we're here. But having a balance in your life is integral to that self-care you want to adopt. So let's get into it. How can your rest, your peaceful time, your self-care inform your choices about the best exercise for you? Leaving all the trends, the fitness routines and cute outfits at the door, just focusing on that goal. So here we need the practicals. How you can take a second and assess what movement looks like for you in your everyday life. How does it accompany your rest and relaxation? Are you taking the right amount of time of each for you? This will be a highly personalized consideration, as we all have different abilities, time available, and honestly, getting out a bit of paper to write this bit down is definitely helpful, so you can clearly see what you're thinking and feeling about this whole subject. But before you do this, hold your pen. The headspace you go into with this little activity is the most important and crucial step. I've done a bit of research on getting yourself into the right mindset on introducing exercise into your life in a caring and loving way. It may sound silly, but with all this talk out there about the right way to exercise, it's even more important to know where you actually mentally are with it to know what's best. So, step 1 is starting by connecting with your why. This is the foundation as to your reasons for wanting to care for your body. Feel like that's kind of obvious. So mine, for example, is that I want to be strong and I also want to have good mobility. These are my personal why I'm moving my body today, and I genuinely love to remind myself of these before I go into any yoga flow, Pilates session, whatever, because it's just a good way to recenter yourself and your intentions. But your whys do represent more than that. Your why should always feed into your sense of deserving. I deserve to move my body. I deserve those endorphins. I deserve to feel strong and mobile. That's the intention you should be thinking every time you roll out your mat or just before you lift up that weight. The second is building accountability. Honestly, the easiest way I have found to include exercise in a caring and flexible way is through exercising with friends. Whether it's running together, going climbing together, you really have so much fun just doing the activities with someone and feeling more motivated to do it off the back of that. Accountability can take many forms, but if your intentions are guided by your self-care, so should your accountability. Pick someone you feel comfortable with, who won't make it into a competition if that's really not your style. someone you can be open and honest with about how you're feeling before you start exercising, but will still help you maintain your goal. The more calm and caring energy you feel around your exercise, the more you're going to be willing to do it. So your accountability buddy should understand and represent that. The third step is having a flexible mindset. And I really think a big one when it comes to integrating movement is this flexibility. You're not going to be able to do everything all at once. The achievements you wish to make will take time. And most importantly, some days are going to be a really big challenge where just showing up was the most difficult bit. Give yourself the space to have these moments. Your inner critic will really want to raise its head here, but ultimately embracing self-compassion in that time will give you the opportunity to actually foster a sustainable relationship with the exercise at hand. That leads quite nicely on to step 4, which is embracing the concept of growth. Growing and cultivating that relationship with movement and your intentions with self-care are absolutely reliant on setting both short and long-term goals to track how well you're doing. Not only will it aid your motivation, but it keeps the system of moving your body regularly going. There's something to look forward to, and each goal is an opportunity to prove to yourself even more that there is care and fulfillment in your everyday. And finally, step 5, plan for flexibility and enjoyment. If it's not something you love, enjoy, or find I can do this attitude in, it's really okay to say it's not for you. Not every fitness routine, exercise activity you're going to try is going to resonate. And I know a lot of people will tell you, you've got to keep going and then you'll learn to love it. And in some cases, that is definitely true. But if forcing yourself to do the exercise makes you dread it, makes you want to cry, or puts you in a negative headspace, that is not the space you want to be in for finding fulfillment and joy in moving your body. There will always be ups and downs, but at the root of it all, you're learning to love the way your body is moving and taking care of your body. And if you hate the exercise you're doing, that is not going to happen. That last point will have probably left you with a bit of a question. And that is, well, what exercise is best for me? Once you know your mindset, how you want to approach and integrate movement, your little motivators and discipline reminders, finding exercise that you actually enjoy is, of course, the next big thing. It's super easy to cling on to the recent fads in fitness, especially when you're struggling with motivation or what healthy exercise looks like in your life. But if moving your body and enjoying the experience of exercise is your goal, choosing something because that's what everybody else is doing is not giving yourself the best chance to truly love caring for yourself. I've listed some of my favorites, although I definitely don't have time to do them all, and they are just the ones that I know make me feel good, just to give you a bit of inspiration. There won't be anything in here that's new, but remember, there's a hell of a lot of fitness styles out there. There is totally going to be one that you love. Okay, the first one is actually kind of less like major exercise, more just something I do a lot, and that is walking. I am lucky that I live in an incredibly walkable city. So during my time at Cambridge, I probably walk for at least 2 hours a day. And honestly, people are so quick to overlook the incredible benefits of just getting outside for a walk. It helps your heart, it helps your bones, and aids muscle power and endurance. All of that from just taking a walk for a little while every day. If you're really wanting to start slow, connect with yourself in a calming way, walking is a godsend. And you don't need to live anywhere particular to do it because there is always somewhere to go on foot. As much as this episode is about making sure you're connecting with online fitness spaces in the most self-caring way, the hot girl walking trend is actually a great one for this, because there is no requirements other than perhaps a good podcast maybe, and maybe a cute outfit that you enjoy, but even then, those aren't even necessary for it to count. So if you're wanting a connection to movement that is soothing, slower, and more in touch with the world around you, I really can't recommend a good stroll enough. The second one, and I'm going to stress the first word pretty heavily, and that is light jogging. I'm going to say it again, light jogging. If you've been living under a little bit of a rock, you wouldn't know that the world seems to be a little bit obsessed with half marathons and running right now. Maybe it's just my age, but honestly, it's crazy the amount of people I personally know who did a half marathon this year. The Cambridge half specifically could have easily had about half of the university population. But don't worry, I am not about to tell you that jogging has to lead to a marathon or any significant length of running. Only if that is genuinely a goal you want to set for yourself should you engage with the very heavy fitness content that comes out of the people who choose that style of running. But again, if you're wanting to start slow, start caringly, and build yourself into someone who genuinely does enjoy a run, light jogging can be a great starter. I think some fitness apps can be really great for this because they can help you decipher your pace, what feels good, how far you want to run, etc. So the mental strain of just like figuring out all those kind of little aspects of any kind of run are completely done for you. So a light jog can consist of just 20 minutes at a slow pace and just taking in the world that you're going for a little jog in. I have been a runner on and off ever since about COVID, which I think is very similar to a lot of people, but I would not say in any shape or form am I hardcore with it. But one way I do keep it simple for myself is that I will set a time goal or a distance goal, normally one or the other, just to keep it super, super basic. And then I will run for that amount of time or that amount of length, and then I will literally call it a day. If you're looking to just get started with something like running and build some sort of consistency with it, this is definitely a good idea. Mainly because it takes all the pressure away from the faff of, oh, how fast am I running? How long do I have? How far have I gone? Is this a good distance? You know, there's so many questions that just don't need to be focused on. And with this, you can focus on that one thing and you can calmly and consistently show up for yourself with that goal. The third one will probably always be my personal favorite, and I will always recommend it, and that is yoga. In terms of slowing down, moving your body with intention, and just connecting with myself, yoga is amazing. There are so many different people to follow out there that do really, really great introductions to yoga and get you feeling comfortable with moving your body in this way, because I'm well aware it's not always natural. You know, I started personally with a very traditional kind of route of learning the vinyasa flows, which is definitely the very English way of saying that. But I have also started to explore other styles. I really love how yoga teaches you to trust your body and, if you want to, push your limits, but it's always at a pace which feels so incredibly manageable. I have done yoga on and off for years, but it's definitely one of those exercise activities that can feel very exclusive, either because it feels like only a specific kind of person can do it, or it's heavily targeted towards women as a safe exercise from getting bulky, which just annoys me to a no end. But if there is anything I have learned from yoga, it's that it makes you not only incredibly strong, but it's definitely the perfect add-on to something, any sort of strength training, because the mobility you gain and the use of muscles is unlike any other exercise you will do. And it can be done at such a slow pace and you'll still make that progress. Your body deserves to be strong, mobile, and loved. And anything from strength training to yoga can do that. Okay, we've hit point 4. So everything I am going to list next is either something I haven't tried, I don't do consistently at all, or won't be possible for everyone because of whatever limits they have. But I still truly believe that there is a lot of worth mentioning them, just in case your circumstances do fit and it sounds like fun for you. The first one is cycling. The reason I haven't really tried cycling mainly is because right now I don't have a bike. However, I know a lot of people really, really engage with cycling as there really isn't a cap on ability, you know, and it can be super, super easy to do. Most of us at some point in our lives have learned to ride a bike. So the simplicity and peace of just poodling along, especially if you live near an open space of any kind, can be really, really lovely. The second one is climbing or bouldering. This is something I love and have done many times. However, I don't live near the gym. It's a bit of a trek in Cambridge, so I do it when I can. I love bouldering when you get to do it with others, mainly because it's such a bonding experience. So there's no ropes involved in bouldering. It's simply just climbing up a wall. And I've climbed with people who have many more years of experience than me, and also with those who I took to their very first session. But that's kind of the beauty of it, because you can start whenever, wherever, figure out the routes together, fall off and laugh together, and nothing about it has to be serious. And that's kind of the brilliant thing about climbing gyms, is everyone helps everyone else out. It's probably the most welcoming exercise communities I've ever experienced. Thirdly, you have Pilates, and I know Pilates gets a bit of a reputation and always gets confused with yoga in terms of its movements, but I promise you it is quite different. If you do find yoga a bit slow or want more of a challenge, but still kind of want to take it step by step on the intensity, at home mat Pilates, so you don't need any extra equipment other than a mat, is such a great starting point. You can get a sweat on if you properly go for it. Trust me, the videos out there, some of them are insane. But if you're following a chiller video and just want a good stretch and working of your muscles, all the resources are out there to do it. For example, I've been using Move with Nicole's videos for, I want to say, about 5 months now. And she really is brilliant at easing you in with kind of easier warm-up moves, not assuming that you've done this before, or that you're able to do everything, because she always gives alternatives and points where you can adjust the move to fit your needs and abilities, which is perfect for anybody that doesn't totally feel comfortable with doing something like Pilates but really still wants to give it a go, because it gives you the different steps to break it down in your way. There are several others who are really, really great Pilates instructors, all of which I'll add into the comments, but if you want a little bit of a challenge or really want to move, Pilates is a really good choice. Finally, and I know that there will be some people out there who will be like, absolutely not when I say this, but there's cold water swimming. So before you say to me, this cannot be calming, hear me out. For starters, I only began doing this last summer because at least it was warm outside, and even if the water was freezing, I could come up knowing that I could dry off in the sun and it would be all okay and I could warm up again. And it does require a little bit of prep. You know, you've got to be able to find somewhere you can go and the time to do that. But if you're a fan of a little bit of adrenaline and really find swimming in itself a very peaceful experience, which I would also recommend, this is such a brilliant thing to do. Also, you do not have to be in the water for long. You can treat it a bit like a cold plunge type of situation, especially if you're here in the UK, because I don't think there is a single body of water out there that we have that would be warm. But I would really recommend doing it because the sense of calm that you feel after coming out of the water, you know, all those happy hormones in your system, absolutely fills up your cup. Like in the summer months, I have definitely become a fan of swimming here down on the south coast, where the water genuinely does feel Arctic, but I probably only swim for 15 to 20 minutes max. Basically, this is for all of you out there who love a rush of the good stuff, the happy hormones through exercise, but really don't want to spend hours doing it and, you know, a bit of a splash about, I guess. I just wanted to add a little note about the different ways I like to motivate myself and also keep my exercise enjoyable and fulfilling. I think one of the biggest reasons fitness routines fall through is because we don't actually enjoy the process of it, especially when we've chosen a routine based on everyone else rather than our own desired goals and systems we want to have in our lives. The little things really do matter in this kind of game. It can be difficult balancing slowing down, adjusting fitness to what we want, and not letting negative stigma and beliefs get in the way. The mixed messages of the online fitness space are so confusing with do the exercise you want but go to the gym every day. You won't progress if you only do 10 minutes of exercise, but you'll burn out if all you do is lift weights. It's so incredibly overwhelming. After I started sertraline for my PMDD, I went through a bit of a reshuffle with this because I had the clarity to realize how much those messages were impacting me and my relationship with my body. For my whole life, I would say exercise or the desire to move my body was not something that naturally came to me. My parents weren't super athletic at all, and although I danced for years, it wasn't exercise per se because it was just part of my hobbies. So it didn't really happen until my teens that I became super conscious of the impact of not moving my body. And I really, really struggled to figure out what I actually wanted out of exercise and also what I actually enjoyed. I have witnessed several close friends of mine have very, very complicated and negative relationships with exercise off the back of body issues, and I knew that as someone who wasn't always comfortable with my body, I needed to take this slowly, be kind to myself, and find activities I genuinely loved. You deserve the space to do exactly this, but sometimes this means stepping back from the internet and solely thinking about how you want to do this. Take a break if you need it from the online wellness and fitness space. Take time for you and what you want out of your movement. Go for that bit of a refresh, and it will surprise you how much easier it is to fall in love with moving your body when there isn't so much pressure. It's a process, but it's a process you truly deserve. So, that's the end of this episode of A Galene Woman Is. I hope you found this discussion helpful. Thank you for joining me and considering how you can truly enjoy movement and feel fulfilled from the time you give to moving your body. Hopefully you took a little moment to breathe and relax, and if not, do take time for yourself today. You deserve to care for yourself. If you found comfort or connection in our discussion today, please consider subscribing and sharing the podcast with others who might benefit from a little bit of self-care. There is loads on integrating calm and functional fitness at www.galenecompany.com, and our social self-care space is @GaleneCompany_ on Instagram and Facebook, and A Galene Woman Is on TikTok. So give us a little explore to keep self-care in your life. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.